Hey, so tonight I decided to share my domestic violence story with you guys. Um, this is my first time speaking out about it, so forgive me if my voice is a little shaky. It's just because I'm just a tad bit nervous. So anyways, my first domestic violence relationship was when I was 21. I was involved with this guy that was about 5 years older than me. And my sister begged me not to talk to this guy. And I told her I wouldn't, but just because I guess she kind of told me not to, I did anyway. So we ended up hooking up, and we were together for about a year and a half. I think we moved in together after about a year of seeing each other. Everything was, really good between us. We were happy and, but I don't know why. Like, I still don't even know to this day. But like after we moved in together is when the abuse started. And it just kind of like I don't know, it just happened one night where I think he had went out one night or something. And I remember he had lost his key and he was trying to get in, and it was like really, really late, and I didn't want to get up to let him in. So because it took me a while to get up to let him in, he thought I had somebody in the house. And he was very, very, very extremely jealous. He was very, very insecure. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. But I knew I wasn't cheating. I knew that I wasn't doing anything dishonest at all. So the insecurity really, didn't bother me. So but that night when I finally let him in, I came downstairs and I unlocked the door, and he kind of like forced his way in, and he was like, what took you so long, and who you got up in here? And I call myself trying to have like a little attitude because it's like 1 or 2 in the morning. But I can't remember what I said to him or if I even had said anything. But the next thing I know, he shoved me and I literally flew back up against the wall and slid down. And I'm just sitting here thinking, like, did this really happen? Like nothing like that has ever happened to me before. So, I hop up and I run upstairs, and he came running behind me, because I guess he thought I was going to call the police or something. I don't know. But I didn't. I think we went upstairs and we started arguing or something like that. But anyway, like I said, that was already like a year after we were together. And also it was like 3 months into us living together. So anyway, after that, he just started kind of like randomly hitting me. You know, he would slap me, you know, or he would like sling me across the living room, or I mean, whatever he did, it was just, it was bad. And I would like want to tell my mom about it, but I was scared, you know, I was scared. So I kept it to myself. And I mean, he was just so jealous that there was absolutely nothing I can do. There was just nothing I can do. I couldn't go anywhere unless I was with him. If I did go somewhere without him, like my time limit was like 5 minutes, and I had to already be like making my way back to him. If I spoke to another guy, you know, I got beat for that. That was disrespect. And I mean, it was just crazy. So I just got tired of that. It went on for like 3 months until one night, you know, I told him, I was like, I don't want to do this with you no more. Like, I'm done. And he didn't take that lightly at all. And he was like, so what are you saying, you know? And I'm like, you know, I don't want to be with you no more, you know. I'm ending it. It like, we're done, you know. You won't stop hitting me. I don't understand why you even feel the need to hit me, you know. I don't do anything at all, so, you know, I don't think you're gonna stop, so I'm leaving. So he was like, okay, well, if you don't want me, then I'm just gonna have to show you that I don't want you either. And whatever he meant by that, it just made my heart drop. So that night, I went upstairs and I laid down, and I was trembling because I just knew, I mean, I knew that it was coming. And you know, he called somebody on the phone, and it was like one of his homeboys, and he was telling he was calling somebody on the phone, and I'm sitting there listening but acting as if, you know, I'm not paying any attention. So he had called somebody to come get him, and once the dude had called him and told him that he was outside, he was like, are you sure you're outside? And I heard the dude say, yeah, I'm outside, come outside. So after that, he hung the phone up with him, and he was like, yeah, it's on now. And he just attacked me. You know, he grabbed me, and he literally like picked me up and threw me across the room. Like just throw me to the other side of the room. And he came up to me and he just started just beating me, like severely. Like, I've never been beaten like that before. And the only thing that I knew to do was just to, you know, protect my face the most I can. So, you know what I mean? And I just curled up in a ball and I just took it. I didn't fight back. I felt that it would have been worse if I did. So, you know, I just laid there and he finally left. He left. And my son was in the other room asleep. And he was about 6 months old then, my youngest son. And I was beaten so bad I had to drag myself to the other room. And I had he had stole my phone because he didn't want me to call the police, but I had a spare phone. I kept a spare phone in the guest room where my son was at. And even though it wasn't activated, you can still call 911. So I managed to get up and call the police. And they came out there and I explained to them what happened and everything. And they checked me out and stuff like that. And I told them I didn't want to go to the hospital. I just didn't want to go through all of that. And they said, well, since you don't want to press charges or anything like that, there's really not much we can do. But if he comes back, call us and let us know or whatever. We'll be out here. So I said, okay, well, I don't really know if he's bold enough to come back, but I said, I'll call you guys. And they gave me the, direct number to the police station instead of, me calling 911, which, oh, no. No, they didn't, because there was no way I was going to be able to call. They said when you do call 911, ask for the police station in the city that I was living in instead of just, going through the whole thing about, So I was like, okay. So they left. Y'all, this dude had the audacity to come back, and I was so shocked that he came back. I mean, I like to even, risk, you know what I mean? So he came back and, I had managed to like somehow get myself up in the bed and I just sat there. I couldn't even move. My body was so bruised and I had like knots all in my head and my face was just all busted up. I mean, it wasn't much I can do. So I just laid in the bed and I heard him coming in the house. And I was just like, oh my God, what am I going to do? So I still had the phone in my hand that I kind of like tucked under the pillow because I didn't want him to see that I had a spare phone. And he came back to apologize, and he said he did it because he never really loved anybody the way that he loved me. And I'm like, wow, so this is love, But I'm not responding to him. I'm not talking or anything like that. I'm just listening to everything he was saying. And he told me that he wasn't going to leave that night. He was just going to kind of hang out, but he was going to be outside with like his homeboys. He had called some of his homeboys over there and they were just sitting outside, like hanging out. It's like 2 a.m. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, I got something for him. So when he left and went back outside, he was like, I'm not giving you your phone back. You can get it tomorrow or something like that. I don't know. So when he went outside, I dialed 911. And I told them to give me, the police department in the city that I was living in at the time. And when I say them folks got over there in like 2.5 seconds, and then they pulled up with no headlights, no sirens or nothing. They just pulled up. And everybody ran in my house. All the dudes that he was outside with ran in my house. One hid in a closet. I had like a townhouse, so there was like upstairs and downstairs. And they just scattered all over the place. One what I did was, right after I called the police, instead of going out the front door because he would have saw me, I slid out of my the sliding door was on the side of my house. The, what do you call it? Like the little patio or something. And I snuck out there and I ran to the back of the apartments. And I just stayed there until I knew that he was arrested and in the car. So after that, I was just like, man, I'm done. Like I'm over this dude. And he went to jail, and his, I pressed charges. His name was in the paper and everything. And that's back when, like, the woman didn't go to jail. Only the man did. Nowadays, if you call the police and you're involved in the domestic violence, relationship, you both go to jail. So anyway, but it's so crazy because even after he did that to me and he ended up bonding out, which took like a week, he had asked me to come get him out of jail. I guess he thought I was going to be like that gullible, but I didn't. I don't know, somebody had came and got him. I think it was like his dad or something. But anyways, he had got out of jail and he called me to let me know that he was out. Y'all, when I say I was in so much fear, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do. I wasn't, back then I was in the world. I wasn't praying or nothing. I wasn't in the church, nothing. Like, I was out there, doing my own thing. So I didn't know to pray. I didn't have spiritual counselors, like none of that, like nothing. So I was in so much fear. And the crazy part about it was the same month of Hurricane Katrina. My family and I, we ended up going out of town for the hurricane. And like, that was the only thing that really saved me from, this guy really just coming back into my life. Because my townhouse ended up getting demolished and it got condemned. So I couldn't even go back to it after the hurricane. And him and I, we had ended up losing contact. So I was able to escape him. So anyway, that was my first domestic violence relationship ever in my life. I was 21 years old. My second domestic violence relationship, I ended up hooking up with this guy that was like 7 years older than me. And he was a very, very popular dude in town. I had met him at the club that I was working in at the time. And, we hung out like maybe 1 or 2 times, and then he ended up going to jail for like a year. So I had lost contact with him. But when he got out, he wanted to hook up again. And so I don't know why, but I did. I ended up hooking up with him. And we were together 2 years. 2 years we were together. This was in 2009. It was 2009, so it was about 4 years later after my first relationship. This guy was just, he was a womanizer. He was a woman beater. And he was extremely jealous, very insecure. And it seemed like those be the guys that really, you know, put their hands on you, because it's like, I guess it gives them some, gives them some kind of validation. I don't know. But he would hit me just randomly. He would just hit me. I mean, you know, in my face. So I couldn't even hide it with him. He would hit me in my face so hard, I would just like spit blood. I would have a mouthful of blood. He would spit on me. You know, he would like spit in my face if I was trying to talk to him and explain something to him. One time we were leaving the casino. One night we were leaving the casino, and we were drunk, and we were making our way back to the car. And a couple of women had walked past us. They were on their way in the casino, and he had said something to them. I don't know what it was, but it was very like disrespectful. So, I hit him up, shoved his head like, why you being nasty, That was the biggest mistake ever. Ever. We got in the car, and this man waited until I started up the car, put my seatbelt on, and out of nowhere, he just came with his right hand. Pow. And I'm just like, wow, I'm dazed. And then right after that, he came with his left hand. Pow. So it was like, my head was like, whoosh, whoosh. And I'm just sitting here like in a daze for a few minutes. Like I couldn't even see, My eyesight had got blurry. And I'm just like, oh my God, this man, this man didn't hit me. So we fought all the way from the casino all the way back to my apartment. Somebody had seen us fighting on the interstate, so they called the police. And the police pulled us over at the gas station that was down the street from my house. And they was like, what is going on? We got a call saying that you guys are fighting. So we're like, we're not fighting, and whatever. And there was a woman police officer and there was a male police officer. So the woman police officer pulled me off to the side, and the male police officer pulled him off to the side. And she was like, what happened? And I said, he hit me, so we were fighting, like that's it. And she was like, well, do you want to press charges? And I said, no, I'm fine. And keep in mind, I'm intoxicated, but I do remember what I was saying, because I wasn't like, I wasn't like out of it, I was like, no, I'm fine. And she says, are you sure? Look at you. And I'm thinking like, how can I look at myself? I didn't know the severity of it. I really didn't. But she was like, your face is swole. And I'm just like, okay, well, I'm just gonna go home and sleep it off. So she let me go. You know, she said, well, we're not gonna allow him to go home with you. He's gonna have to go somewhere else. But you know, she was like, I'm gonna allow you to go home because I wasn't over, I guess, the breathalyzer thing or something. I don't know. But she allowed me to drive, and she knew I had been drinking. So I went home. That morning I woke up, or that afternoon, my sister used to stay right across from me. My twin sister, she stayed right across from me in these apartments. So I ran over there for some reason. I don't know why I ran over there. But when she opened the door, she said, what in the world happened to you? And I had like totally forgot, because I didn't even look in the mirror. Like, I didn't. You know, I hopped out of the bed. You know, I think I threw like some sweats on or something, and I just like ran over there. And she was like, you know, did so-and-so hit you? And I'm like, so she was like, I'm finna call my brother, or, you know, our brother. And I was like, nah, don't do that. I was like, I'm good. I'm all right. Don't do that. You know, I'm just gonna go home and lay down. And she was like, yeah, okay. So I went back home, and before I knew it, she was over there. And before she made it over there, the dude had ended up coming to my house. Like, he just came up in there. And he's looking at me like in sorrow and sympathy, and, you know, just like, wow. Like, he just couldn't believe what I looked like. I mean, my face was so swole. I mean, I looked like a pumpkin. I had, you know, got up and looked at myself. My lips were so big, and I mean, you know, my eyes was black, and I just looked it crazy. I don't even know, man. But anyway, my sister came over there. She kicked him out, and she called the police. And even after that, I stayed with him. I stayed with him. I think I stayed with him for about a year after that. I don't know why. I couldn't break it off with this guy. I don't know what it was. Even times where, you know, we would like get into it, and he would like pack his stuff. He would pack his bags, and he would move out. I would always let him back in. And I mean, he put his hands on me throughout the whole relationship. It wasn't just like a couple of times or anything like that. So, I don't know. But anyway, that relationship lasted 2 years. He ended up moving out. I think he moved out like a week before my birthday. No, he didn't, because he actually tried to break up with me on my birthday. Why? I have no idea. I don't even know. But he tried to break up with me on my birthday, and I think that was just kind of like a mental thing that he was trying to, you know, I don't know. So anyway, I told him, I said, you know, if you want to go, you can go. And I think because I was willing to just let him go, he didn't want to go. Does that make sense? So, but what it was it was a week before Christmas. My birthday is in December. So, like I said, he tried to break up with me on my birthday, and he ended up, you know, he didn't. And then it was like a week before Christmas, he ended up just like moving out. I mean, he just grabbed his stuff and he left. And I was like so happy. I was so happy. I posted that I was single. before he can even get the rest of his stuff out of my house. I was just, and he was like the only guy that I really was like in a relationship with on Facebook. So everybody knew us. Everybody knew us. People were asking me what happened, but you know, I never spoke about it. The times where he would beat me, I would just stay in the house and heal. You know, that way I would keep from people asking me questions, or really just to keep people from even knowing that I was being abused. So that's how I was able to keep it a secret for so many years. And then my last relationship that I was abused in, you know, was my most recent one. I was with him for 5 years. And, you know, the first 2 years we were still living in the world. So, I was just like, same old, you know. I even had shared my past experiences with him in hopes that, you know, he would like feel sorry for me and not do it. You know, he wouldn't be the same. But, you know, old habits die hard. And he ended up, you know, abusing me throughout the relationship. And I couldn't believe it because, like, after I had given my life to Christ, you know, I just felt like I was, you know, going to be saved from that, you know. I felt like I was going to be almost like exempt, you know, like this can't happen to me anymore because I'm, you know, I'm a child of God. I'm a woman of God now. So, you know, we both gave our lives to Christ, and I'm just like, you know, it's gonna really work out this time. No more, you know, no more abuse. But the enemy is just so busy, so slick. It was just like, I didn't know, I really didn't know what to do because I was such a babe. I didn't know anything about spiritual warfare. I didn't really learn how to pray until 2 years into the relationship, because that's when I gave my life to Christ. That's when I started building my prayer life. And what helped me was that same year, War Room had came out. So me and a friend went to go see it, and I was taking all kind of notes. And it wasn't about, you know, to me, you know, like the people that were in the movie, they were married. So, but I looked past that. It was just how the woman was praying and how the other woman had showed her how to pray. I've never prayed like that before. Like, I didn't even know prayers worked like that. So in this very bathroom that I'm in right now, I started praying the same way that the lady was praying. I had prayers from my ceiling all the way down to the floor. Every inch of this bathroom was covered with nothing but prayers. Nothing but prayers. By then, I knew what spiritual warfare was. And also, I knew, I found out that, we don't wrestle against flesh. So it definitely was a, demonic thing behind the lives, of these men that abused me so severely. And so I had to forgive him. Once I learned what forgiveness was and stuff like that, but what struck me was, even after being saved together and being filled with the Holy Ghost, it happened again. And it blew my mind because I couldn't believe it. I'm like, no, this ain't supposed to be happening, Like, we are, we're children of God. Like, this is not supposed to be happening, But if you're not praying, if you're not fasting, and if you're not in the Word of God, then you are slowly being broken down by the enemy. And he's definitely gonna attack because he knows that you're weak. You're not feeding your spirit. And it's easier for him to just slide on in. So we had ended up we tried to seek counseling, but I don't know. But I didn't want to say anything about it. I hid it because I was so embarrassed that this was happening to me as a woman of God. I was so ashamed and humiliated, because, to me, I always felt like, we're supposed to like uphold this image of being warriors, and, we're not supposed to be, nothing like that is not supposed to be happening in a Christian home. So for it to be happening, I was just so embarrassed. And I would hide it with, fake smiles. And I would hide it in my worship. I would hide it, while I would praise. And, I would dress down a lot so I wouldn't be noticed at all, at church. And I kept quiet about it, I definitely didn't want to expose, him. So, but the last time it happened, I was just like, man, this is ridiculous, This is really ridiculous, this is crazy. So, I ended up leaving him. I left him after the last time he put his hands on me. And I was in fear for my life. I was in so much fear, like this fear just came over me. I never wanted to be alone. I had moved in with my mom for like almost a month, and I didn't want to leave. And then on top of that, not only am I physically abused, like I had the flu. I had caught the flu right after that. So I'm battling in my body physically, and it was just, man, it was the hardest thing I had to go through. But I fought through, and I forgave him, and I prayed for him. I'm not bitter at all, you know, towards him. I still love him as a brother in Christ. I don't have any hatred in my heart. I'm not angry, none of that. And it has to be because of Jesus Christ. I can honestly say that the Lord kept me with this one, because I hated those men. I absolutely hated those other men that abused me the way that they did. I had a hate for them that was so strong. Man, I can't even explain it. But you know what? Over time, I was able to forgive them, but I didn't know what true forgiveness was. Not like I do now. And you know, I feel like I'm healed enough to talk about it. You know, I don't cry about it at all anymore. I have sisters that's been praying with me, you know, getting me through, you know, this difficult time. But I say, you know what, this is the last relationship I'm gonna go through and not speak up on it, because I don't know who this can help. You know, I'm really hoping somebody else will step out and you know, or speak out about, you know, their abuse, and not be ashamed about it, or not be embarrassed like I was. Because domestic violence is real. It's really real. It's really real, and it's not anything to play with. It's not anything to play with at all. I played my part, you know, in retaliation, because I just felt like I was being, you know, taken advantage of. So I own up to my part. I wasn't completely innocent at all. You know, when I would get physically abused, I would verbally abuse. I did do that because it was the only way I knew to retaliate. I can't fight a man. I'm not even gonna try. So that's the part that I played in it. But anyway, those are my stories. I'm really hoping to become an advocate, you know, for other women who are involved in domestic violence. I remember the Lord had dropped in my spirit, it's not okay to stay. And I honestly believe that, you know, He had His hand on me the whole entire time, because it could have been a lot worse. It could have been a lot worse. But the discernment of the Holy Spirit was on me so thick. I mean, it was on me so thick. It was like, I can't even explain it. I heard the Lord's voice so clearly, so profound, that, I mean, He was like protecting me. Like, I knew that I wasn't supposed to be with this, you know, this guy, but I decided, I stayed. But it was because of the prayers that I was praying and my mother's prayers, is the reason why God was fighting for me so hard. And I thank God that I built up enough courage to walk away when I did, because every year it just got worse. But I'm whole. Nothing is going to get me down. I thank God that I didn't come out of that thing depressed and bitter. I was angry for a long time. I have to admit, I was angry for a long time. I was hurt, so I couldn't really talk about it. I definitely didn't want to talk about it out of anger or to try to like bash him or anything like that, because that's not what it's about. He just ended up making the list of the other men that, physically abused me. So I'm not going to talk about them and not talk about, it's my story. So, I hate the fact that I still have to be around him, just as far as seeing him, still have to see him. But sometimes you just gotta take the bitter with the sweet. I don't have to deal with him anymore, so with that, I'm good. So, I don't know. I don't know what God has in store for me, but he told me to leave the people that I'm worried about, leave them to him. Don't worry about it. Don't stress about it. Don't try to retaliate. Don't try to, revenge is his. And I am a firm believer. I've been applying all kind of scriptures to my life. Like just, more so than ever. Victory is mine. Victory is mine. I know for a fact that if I were to be bitter or have hatred in my heart or whatever like that, the things that are just not of God, then God wouldn't be able to move on my behalf, because I would be just like them, So I've learned to let go and let God be God and move on with my life. I'm currently not dating. I'm still single. It's been almost 9 months. I'm not even looking for nobody. Like, I'm cool, it's just me and my boys, they're enough anyway. And every day they encourage me. I love it. I love it. I love it. They check on me to make sure I'm good. If I need anything, it's almost like as if they think I'm their wife. I don't know. But I love it though. We hang out, sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, I do have flashbacks, of what happened, but I don't dwell on it. I just start giving God the praise for my breakthrough. And that's something that I want other women to know too, that they don't have to dwell in the past. Definitely don't let it allow you to be bitter. trust me, you reap what you sow. Stay in your word, pray. You know, it's okay to cry out to God. I have numerous of times. The first 6 months that I couldn't even sleep, all I did was pray and cry and pray and, you know, read the word, you know. I mean, that's all I knew to do. Get in my war room and just, it's me and you, God. It's me and you. It's another one of those nights. So, but I honestly feel that I am going to come back on top. God is definitely going to raise me up as a warrior. He's going to use me. And I just want women to know that it's not the end. You know, you didn't lose anything. You are still a beautiful queen. Your crown was not knocked off at all. So hold your head up high. It's not the end. Life goes on. Build a personal relationship with God if you don't have one. It'll be the best thing. It'll be the best thing that you can do at this point in your life. Get close to God. I mean, get close, like your life does depend on it. Seek counseling, because talking about it helps. I found that to be very helpful. I talked to my sisters about it. I talked to my mom about it. Like I said, I have sisters in the church that call me once a week and pray with me, check on me, make sure I'm not pulling my hair out. And just thank God every day that you're still here, that you're still alive, and that God has a purpose for you. Know that God has a plan for your life. Know that you are somebody, regardless of, you know, what was said to you, what you've been told. You are somebody. You are beautiful. And this too shall pass. Definitely. So that's it. If you guys wouldn't mind, you know, share this video. Hopefully it'll reach somebody that's just in dying need right now. And pray for me, you guys. Pray for me, women of God, as I continue to pray for the body of Christ. I love you, women. Good night.